Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. My name is Ellie Feldman. I am the managing director of Wingman Insurance, and I'm here to walk you through how to quote cyber, get everybody up to speed. It's going to be a 20-minute tutorial on everything you need to know to become a Wingman team member. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to record this for agency principals that are on the call. I will have a recording of this and I will send it to all of you in case anybody couldn't make it. And if you haven't finished your paperwork, please do so. That includes the ACH information so we can pay you commissions. We're very excited to work with everybody from the SBMP, so thank you for joining us. I hope everybody can see my screen. If you have any questions during the webinar, please don't hesitate to reach out. There should be a questions area on your screen to get you involved, and please ask all the questions. On my screen, you're going to see our login page. The first thing I will mention to everybody is this live chat on the left-hand side. If you click on the orange circles, this live chat's going to follow you from before you log into the system until you're working within it. If you have any questions, a member of my team, usually a girl named Heather Glover, is going to be there to help you answer your questions immediately and make sure things don't fall through the cracks. So I encourage you to use that. It's a great first line of getting things done. I'm just going to log in and show you what the system looks like. This is our system and our main menu. You'll see the orange circles followed me in, which is great. And we know who you are and where you are in the system once you log in. So you don't need to give us any background information when you start a chat with us. Agency managers or principals are going to have this little button that says users in the top right. It's where you add and remove users for your agency. It's a really simple process, and we want to give you guys the power to do that. Now let's talk about how easy it is to quote. So I'm going to click on new, and you'll see the Wingman Cyber option is there. If you want, starting on Monday, if you click on this little blue arrow, you're going to get a link. And that link you can put in your website or in an email, and an insured can fill out the application themselves. If, however, you want to fill out cyber applications before you meet with a client, which you'll notice after we go through this process, you absolutely can do. It's a very easy application. Then you're just going to click on quote cyber. But the link is going to take them to this same page. It's just going to have some additional instructions. So we're going to need to know what the applicant's legal entity name is. So we're going to call this the Sample Texas Insured. Let's give them a 2 million revenue. Here's what you need to know about revenue. We rate our cyber based on revenue, and we use bands. And under 100 million in revenue, we don't need any additional information other than what you're about to be asked. If an insured has more than 100 million in revenue, we have a 3-page supplemental application. When you enter in, for example, 200 million in revenue, the system will prompt you on the next page to upload a full application. We don't need it here. Now I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go back though and make it a smaller revenue amount. Let's say 2 million. Okay. What do they do? That's our second question, and the other rating factor that we use. Now you'll notice we have some pretty broad categories here. If you're not sure how to classify something, no problem, you have 2 options. You can use our live chat and ask us, or if you click on this other button, we have a database of all of the NAIC codes and it will classify them for you. So let's say you know that they are an insurance agent, that it's just right there. But let's say they are food manufacturing. What kind of, you can break it down as tight as you want, but you don't need to get too terribly specific. As you'll notice behind me, these are pretty broad categories, and all food production and agriculture has the same rate base. All right. Question 3 of 4 What protected records do you have? This is our only underwriting question. And we just want to know who this insured is and what kind of data they have. We break it down for you into 3 areas. And if you're trying to think this through or talking to an insured about it, I encourage you to scroll over these little question marks and they give you examples. So for healthcare records, we're looking at how many individuals for whom they process, maintain, or store healthcare data. Think about it this way. You are an insurance agent. Maybe you do life insurance or health insurance, and so you have certain health information on a certain number of insureds. Whatever that number is the number of health records that you have. It feels like an onerous task to get that exact number. So there's good news on that front. We don't actually need the exact number. We have bands. And this is why I say that you can do this ahead of time, because let's say an account like this one is a $2 million revenue account. What's the likelihood they have more than 100,000 records? Probably very, very low. If they do, you know, that's an interesting piece of information that we'd like to have. So you can just check with them afterwards. Personal information records are any other records that aren't credit cards or health. So that includes email addresses and passwords, driver's license numbers, social security numbers, bank account information, any other information you might have would be a personal information record. We use the exact same bands in healthcare records that we do in personal information records. And finally, we want to know if they swipe credit cards. Now, the example I gave, a food manufacturing company, probably does not swipe credit cards, but let's pretend they do, so that you guys can see the question. And then most insureds who do swipe credit cards know what level merchant they are. If they do less than 20,000 transactions, they're a level 4 merchant. For example, a level 1 merchant, I think, does more than 3 million transactions annually. We just want to know if they do more than a million. And then we have a follow-up question. And I actually got asked this earlier this week, which I think is truly an interesting phenomenon. One of the coverages in the policy is called PCI fines and penalties. And we ask in the application if the insured's credit card vendor is PCI compliant. What that means is that they follow the federally mandated standards for keeping credit cards safe. And what happens is a credit card company will sue a vendor if they don't comply with the federal standards. And the government can also sue them for not complying with the federal standards. So we ask to make sure that your insured is using a reputable vendor, because they can be denied coverage if they're not. Okay, so I will also say, now that I've scared everybody a little bit, 99.9% of all credit card vendors that you've ever heard of or ever could contemplate are PCI compliant. And the easiest way to know is to Google it. Let's say you're talking to your insured, he uses Square, you know, those little credit card things that you see at the farmer's market. You can type in, is Square PCI compliant, into a browser, you know, a search browser, and you will get an answer. And the answer happens to be yes in that particular instance. Okay. Now, good news for you guys, you're coming into the Wingman family at a really great time. We used to have another question after this. We've now condensed them into a single question. Again, now we're down to 4 little question screens to get you out of this process. Now, I've been talking throughout this whole thing, and it's still taken us less than 6 minutes to go through this. But if you were actually just doing it on your own at your desk, we've clocked it. It's less than a minute to actually get a quote, because this is the last question. We need to know if they've ever had any kind of data breach before. I'm going to say no for our purposes. However, if the answer is yes, that's not a problem. We just are going to ask you a follow-up question. What have they done since then to prevent it from happening again, and what happened? If they've done anything really to improve the situation, they're a wonderful insured. Like many types of insurance, people think they don't need it until they actually need it. And so cyber, particularly when an insured has had a claim, we love them because they're now more vigilant. And that's it. This is a bindable quote. This is what it will cost for $1 million limits for most of our coverages. and I'll talk about that in a second, 2 million limits and 3 million limits. The most important thing I can tell you about how Wingman does business differently is that we do not have a la carte options. Every coverage that we offer comes standard in every policy that we sell. And we do that for a number of reasons. Number one, it takes the thought off of you guys. You don't have to check each policy to make sure this is included and that is included. The answer is yes. If we have it, it's included. The second is that it became very difficult. Sometimes you weren't really sure as coverages evolved if your insured would need that coverage and if it was going to cost extra. We think that's ridiculous. Nobody knows what cyber is yet. Nobody knows where the risks are going to be coming from next. And so we want to throw everything we can at an insured to make sure that they are prepared for all eventualities. You can purchase the coverage here, but more than likely you're going to just want to print this quote letter out. So you're going to click on view quote letter at the bottom of this page, and you're going to put in the insured's contact information. We only ask for a name. We don't use this name. We have found personally that when an insured sees their name on a quote letter, they like that. And so we ask you to put in there first, at least their name. And here you go. Here's the quote letter. You can click on print and it's a PDF. You can download it. You can drag and drop it wherever you want, whatever you might need. It's just taking a second to generate here. Here it comes. Now, one of the other things I'll talk about for the agency principals on the phone is if you haven't done so, please email me your logo, because your logo will go up here and our logos will come off of each page and it will be branded for you, the quote letter. And here's the quote letter, and here are all of the coverages that we offer and all of the limits that we offer. This training is coming at a great time because starting next week, we're offering some additional coverages. You'll see some emails and some more information about that as it gets released on Monday. And one of the upgrades to the system we did is we cleaned up the look of the quote letter. I think this is a little busy. We've made it a little clearer for insureds to understand, but the coverages ostensibly remain the same. You are going to get the third-party coverages or the liability coverages. They're up here. That's going to be if your insured gets sued or if regulators come after your insured because of a data breach. However, most claims happen in all of the rest of these coverages. That's going to be the cost to notify customers and find out what happened, whether it be PR, legal experts, data forensics experts to see what hackers got access to. All of that's going to be in this area. We include website media liability in case they get sued for copyright infringement for posting on their social or website. We're going to offer first and third party business interruption. So if they own and control their computer systems and they go down, they get that coverage. But third party business interruption is going to cover if they contract with a vendor and that vendor goes down. And we're seeing this coverage coming up more and more and more in claims where, for example, let's say your agency management system goes down and you guys can't work for a few weeks, you can pick up the lost income from something like that. Social engineering and ransomware are the two most common losses we're seeing today. Ransomware, you want it to be the full limit of the policy. Standard today is for social engineering is roughly $250,000 in coverage. We are seeing a few companies doing full limit for that. We are not doing that yet, but we haven't seen any claims for more than $250,000 in the social engineering space, so it should be okay. And then you can select which limit your insured wants and you can purchase it. Now, one of the best things about our purchasing process is that we are going to direct bill your insured. All you have to do is select the limit you're looking for. We offer quarterly, monthly, or annual pay if an insured has more than $2,500 in premium. If it's less and you want to do installments, that's fine. You just have to let us know. But usually we only offer installments on premiums over $2,500. You just click proceed. You give us the effective date and the name and email address of the insured, of the person in the insured's office who's going to pay that bill. You're going to click our warranty boxes and click complete purchase. As soon as that's done, you will get an email because we CC you on all communications with the insured. Really, this is the only communication with the insured. They're going to get an email to go online and securely pay their bill. We offer ACH and credit cards, Credit cards comes with a fee, ACH does not. They can go online and pay their bill. They can set up recurring payments if they have installments or if they want to for renewal purposes. And as soon as they pay their bill, we will issue the policy. And when we do, it'll be via email with a PDF attachment to the agent of record and only that person in the system. Questions? I just threw a lot at you. Some of you guys will not have logins to our system yet. We hope to have them for you really, really quickly. As soon as you guys, as your agencies become appointed, we're going to have them for you. Part of the process when the agency principals are filling out the ACH information is to add all of you guys as users. And once they do, you'll get an email from our system with your login information. If for whatever reason you need a login, your agency has been appointed, you haven't been appointed yet, please reach out to me and I will be happy to do that. I will give everybody my email address right now. It is LEELLIE@wingmanins.com. I just got a great question from April. She wanted to know what the warranty statements regarding data backups, etc. Our warranty statements that you just saw on the click page have nothing to do with data backups or anything like that. I'll go back and show you what they are. They're basically, it's like a fraud notice. It's just saying that to the best of your knowledge, the information that you've given us which is used for rating purposes, is truthful, and that you agree to conduct business electronically. That's what those statements say at the end. In the policy, there is no warranty statement regarding data backups or anything, although someone did point out to me this week that there is one specific coverage that requires you to have a backup, and that is data restoration. That companies, that Access in particular, requires you to have at least some form of a backup to restore data from, because otherwise creating your data from nothing is very cost prohibitive. Great question from Todd. What if an insured has multiple locations? Cyber liability is not tied to any specific property. We only ask for address for state issuance purposes. So we are looking for the headquarters address in our policy, but all insured locations are going to be covered regardless of where they are located. So that's a really great question. If you have questions about coverage, this is a really great lead in. And guys, please keep asking questions. I'm just going to show you this in the interim. If you click on this tool section, you're going to get a lot of information that you might need. Little things like marketing tools are great. These are one sheets that we create for your agencies to use. Take our branding off and put yours on there. Take the content and add it to your social channels, or take our social media that we post and post it yourself. We highly encourage you to do that. You're going to see a lot of that there. The video section is phenomenal. We have past webinars, a library of past webinars that you guys can watch at your leisure to learn more about cyber liability and the cyber landscape. One of the things that is in there is a beautiful presentation that we did on each coverage, broken down and what you need to know about each coverage. So I encourage everybody to watch that one. It's about 20 minutes long. It's a really quality one, and you can find it down here. Just in case you might need a full application, it's there. We'll get to claims and resources in a second. Specimen documents is where I was going. You can choose your policy type. We offer 2 policies right now, cyber and technology E&O with cyber. One of the most interesting fallacies we hear about is that only tech companies need cyber insurance, and that's absurd. Tech companies actually don't need standalone cyber. They need E&O with the cyber components, because more often than not, their cyber breaches are due to error in their work rather than an external hacker getting in. And because it's such a fine line, we put them on an E&O form that has all of these cyber coverages and not a standalone cyber. They can get standalone cyber, but we don't encourage it. Cyber is really for everybody else. It's for manufacturing firms, healthcare companies, financial planners, CPAs. It's for, we do a ton of agribusiness. We do a ton of nonprofits. We do, like, for example, the United Ways. We have a ton of United Ways on the books. Companies all across the country with all different kinds of things. Municipalities are a big one right now. So we encourage you to take a look. But you just select just to go back, the policy type and the state, you'll find Texas down here, and you can preview the policy. I will have this and I'll send it to everybody in my follow-up today, just so that you guys can have that. But we have so again, like I mentioned, a couple of updates to the policy coming out, so I'll send you the updated one. Questions? If you click on claims and resources in the tools section, you're going to see information on how to report a claim. Every policy that we sell comes with a data breach hotline. That's your first line of defense. It's a lawyer who knows how to help you guys make early good decisions. And we very much encourage people to have this document on hand so that they know who to call in the event that one of their insureds thinks that there's a claim. And the e-risk hub is a cache of resources specifically geared toward pre and post breach services. For more information on that, in a couple of weeks, we're having an entire webinar on how to arm your insureds against a cyber breach ahead of time, and that's going to be in that. Okay, questions? Renewals are an interesting thing. 90 days out from renewal, you'll start seeing the renewal accounts pop up in your weekly email. On Mondays, the system sends you basically an update of what's going on in the system for you personally. You'll see any accounts that you've quoted in the last 30 days, any accounts that are invoiced that haven't paid, or renewals that are coming up in the next 90 days. Because of staff turnover and things like that, if you're listed as an agency manager role, you're going to see everything for the whole agency so that nothing slips through the cracks. So when you have a renewal, 90 days out, you can go into the system, click on the renew area. You're going to get two questions. We're going to want to know if their revenue has changed and if their record count has changed. And you can get a renewal quote and bind it at any time up to 14 days after the renewal date. It's really a very simple process, and we walk you through it. We got a great question that just came in. Can you recommend the best way to get educated on the coverages and exposures? I can. If you go to the tools section, click on our videos. I'll just take you to the page now so you guys can see it. There are great little snippets of webinars and trainings. So this is a demo in case you forget how to do something in the system. Here's how to read the quote letter and what the coverages are. We talked about that a little bit. That breaks down all of the coverages in the policy. Why sell cyber is a really great one. Here's our top 5 tips for selling cyber coverage. Here are claim stories and scenarios. It's a webinar that's solely based on examples from claims experts. This is what happens when there's a data breach. We have one of the breach coaches that I just talked about on the webinar talking about here's what happens step 1, step 2, step 3 in the event of a data breach. And we add lots to these on our Vimeo page all the time, so we encourage you guys to take a look at that. But if you're looking for anything in particular, we can send it right over to you. All right, any other questions? Well, I just want to say I'm really excited to be working with all of you. I hope you guys don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know that December and January are big for renewals, and I hope that we've made this process easy enough so that you feel like you can add a cyber quote to every single one of your renewals. To help you do that, there is a handout that you can download on your screen right now. It is called a cyber declination letter. What it's saying to each of your insureds is that we are telling you to buy cyber, and if you opt not to, we're going to make you sign this piece of paper to say that you're basically an idiot. It works. It's an incredibly effective sales tool. Please download it from the screen now. I will also send it in the follow-up email to all the agency principals after. But I just can't thank all of you enough. We're so excited to work with you guys. And call me if you need anything. All right, everybody. That looks like that's all the questions for now. So thank you very much, and we'll talk soon. Welcome to Wingman.